In the heart of a bustling, futuristic city, a school unlike any other stood tall, its sleek design a marvel of advanced technology. This vibrant school was filled with students from various alien species, each bringing their unique traits and cultures. The halls echoed with the sounds of laughter and chatter, creating an atmosphere of excitement and energy. Floating screens displayed announcements in multiple languages, while robotic assistants zipped by, helping students with their daily tasks. It was a world where technology met diversity, and everyone was supposed to feel welcome. Amidst this lively environment, Kira, a shy, blue-skinned alien girl, entered the school. Her skin shimmered under the bright lights, a beautiful hue that set her apart from her classmates. However, instead of admiration, she was met with dismissive glances and whispers. Kira felt a wave of anxiety wash over her as she walked through the crowded hallways, trying to keep her head down and avoid drawing attention to herself. She wanted nothing more than to fit in, to be just another student among her peers, but the reality was different. The vibrant aura that made her unique also made her a target. As Kira approached her first class, a group of students stood in her path, smirking and whispering to each other. She recognized them as the school's popular kids, known for their harsh humor and cruelty. They had formed a circle around her, blocking her way. Kira's heart raced, and her palms felt clammy as she stood frozen, unsure of what to do. "Look! It's the blue freak!" one of the bullies shouted, laughter erupting from the group. The comment cut through Kira like a knife, her face flushing with embarrassment. She wished she could disappear, to become invisible as they poked fun at her alien features. "Does your skin glow in the dark? Or is it just the lights?" Another chimed in, and the laughter grew louder, echoing in Kira's ears. Feeling the weight of their words, Kira's stomach twisted in knots. She tried to muster the courage to walk past them, but her legs felt like lead. Each taunt felt like a physical blow, and she could feel the tears welling in her eyes, threatening to spill over. Kira took a shaky breath, willing herself to stay strong. In that moment, she longed for a friend, someone to stand beside her and say that it was okay to be different. On the sidelines, Jake watched the scene unfold with a growing sense of anger and helplessness. He was a tall, athletic human, known for his friendly nature and sense of fairness. As he leaned against the wall, he felt his heart pounding in his chest. He had seen Kira in class, always sitting alone, her bright skin contrasting sharply with the dull colors of her classmates. He admired her strength, but hated how she was treated. "Why doesn't someone help her?" Jake thought, frustration boiling inside him. He wanted to step in, to tell the bullies to back off and leave Kira alone. But as he stood there, uncertainty flooded his mind. What if the bullies turned on him? What if he made things worse? He could already hear the whispers, mocking him for trying to be a hero. Jake's internal struggle was evident. He felt torn between his desire to be brave and the fear of being ridiculed. The conflict played out in his mind like a movie, where he imagined himself confronting the bullies, standing tall for Kira. She doesn't deserve this, he thought, his empathy for her situation growing stronger with each laugh he heard. The laughter continued, drowning out his thoughts. With every taunt aimed at Kira, Jake felt a pang of guilt for not doing anything. He was just a bystander, watching as someone else suffered. As the last echo of laughter faded, he made a decision. He couldn't stand by any longer. He had to help her. The weight of his choice felt heavy, but he was ready to face his fears and confront the bullies. With newfound determination, Jake pushed himself off the wall and took a step toward Kira, ready to show her that she was not alone. The camera would zoom in on him as he approached, revealing the moment of transformation from a silent observer to a courageous ally. This was the moment that would change everything for both him and Kira. In this vibrant school of aliens and advanced technology, the story of friendship and bravery was just beginning, and the audience would be drawn in, eager to see how it unfolds. After the harsh bullying episode in the hallway, Kira felt completely crushed. The laughter of the bullies still echoed in her mind, mixing with the tears that threatened to spill down her cheeks. She quickly left the crowd, seeking refuge in a hidden corner of the school. This spot was behind the large holographic display in the library, a quiet place where she hoped no one would find her. Here, she could finally let her guard down. As Kira sat on the cold floor, she wrapped her arms around her knees, trying to feel small and invisible. She gazed at the glowing screen in front of her, but her thoughts were far away. All she wanted was to fit in, to have friends who accepted her for who she was. Instead, she felt isolated, a stranger in a world that didn't understand her. The pain in her heart was palpable. It felt as if a heavy weight was pressing down on her. Kira thought about how nice it would be to laugh with others, to share her interests and dreams without fear of being ridiculed. Meanwhile, Jake was determined to do something. He couldn't shake the image of Kira's sad eyes from his mind. He knew he had to take a stand against the bullies who had made her life miserable. That afternoon, he sat in his room, staring at his collection of gadgets. Among them was a cloaking device he had built as a science project. It was a small device that could make him invisible for a short time. Jake realized that this could be the perfect way to confront the bullies without putting himself in immediate danger. With newfound courage, he picked up the device and tested it. It hummed softly, and a faint light flickered as it activated. Jake felt a rush of excitement mixed with fear. He knew he had to be smart about this. He would sneak up on the bullies and catch them off guard. Maybe, just maybe, he could show them that their actions had consequences. Jake imagined how Kira would feel if someone stood up for her. He thought of her beautiful blue skin, so vibrant yet so vulnerable in a world that rejected her. "I can't let her face this alone," he whispered to himself, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. As he made his way to the school's main hall, Jake's heart raced with anticipation. He would find the bullies and confront them, using his cloaking device to gather evidence of their cruelty. He wanted Kira to see that there were people who cared, that not everyone was against her. With the device in hand, he activated it and felt the familiar sensation of disappearing from view. Jake stepped quietly down the hall, his determination solidifying with every step. The tension in the air was palpable, and he could sense that he was about to make a difference. This was his chance to not only protect Kira, but also to change the culture of their school for the better. As Jake approached the bullies, his heart pounded, and he felt ready for whatever lay ahead. The stakes were high, but the thought of Kira's smile kept him moving forward. This was more than just a confrontation. It was a step toward a brighter future for both of them. With the cloaking device humming softly around him, Jake quietly approached the group of bullies. They were gathered near the cafeteria, laughing and boasting about their latest cruel jokes aimed at Kira. He could feel his heart pounding in his chest, a mix of fear and determination coursing through his veins. This was it, the moment he had prepared for. As he activated the device, Jake became invisible to everyone except himself. He could see the bullies clearly, their confidence radiating as they continued to mock Kira. "Look at her! She thinks she can fit in here!" One of them sneered, and the others roared with laughter. Anger bubbled inside Jake, but he knew he had to stay calm. He waited for the perfect moment to reveal himself. Finally, he took a deep breath, deactivating the cloaking device. "Hey!" he shouted, stepping forward with all the courage he could muster. The bullies froze, surprised to see Jake standing there. For a moment, silence filled the air, creating a tense atmosphere. "Why are you bullying her? She hasn't done anything to you," Jake demanded, his voice steady despite the adrenaline rushing through him. The bullies quickly recovered, and one of them stepped forward with a sneer. "What are you going to do about it, Jake? You think you can take us all on?" he taunted, confidence dripping from his words. They advanced on him, ready to overpower him with their numbers. Jake felt a wave of fear wash over him as they surrounded him, but he stood his ground. Then something amazing happened. The other students, who had been watching from a distance, began to step forward. One by one, they joined Jake, forming a united front against the bullies. "Leave her alone!" shouted a girl from Kira's class, her voice strong and unwavering. "We're not going to stand by and let you treat anyone like this." The tide was turning. Kira, who had been hiding nearby, watched in awe as Jake stood up for her. Her heart swelled with emotion. She had felt so alone, but now she saw that there were others who cared. The bravery Jake displayed ignited something inside her, a spark of hope and courage. She felt tears of gratitude welling in her eyes, knowing that someone was fighting for her. Jake, sensing the change, called out to everyone. "We can make this school a safe place for everyone. We won't let bullying happen here." His words rang true, echoing through the hall, and students began to cheer. The once dominant bullies now looked small and powerless in the face of this united front. Kira stepped forward, her voice shaking but strong. "Thank you, Jake. Thank you, everyone," she exclaimed, feeling a wave of warmth spread through her. This act of bravery had not only created an emotional connection between her and Jake, but it also inspired others to reflect on their actions. The energy in the room shifted as students began to think about the impact of their words and behaviors. This confrontation marked a turning point. The school began to change, slowly but surely, becoming a place where kindness triumphed over cruelty. And for Kira, this moment of support and friendship would forever change her experience in this vibrant, futuristic school. After the confrontation, Kira and Jake found themselves spending more time together. Their friendship blossomed in the aftermath of that powerful moment, and they quickly became inseparable. Kira was still amazed by how Jake had stood up for her. One afternoon, while they were sitting under a large tree in the school's courtyard, Kira decided to open up about her life on her home planet. "My planet is called Valtara," she began, her eyes shining with memories. "It's a beautiful place filled with lush forests and glowing rivers, but life isn't easy there. The other species often look down on us because we are smaller and different. Many of us have to hide our abilities to avoid bullying and rejection." She paused, sadness washing over her. "Sometimes I feel like I don't belong anywhere." Jake listened intently, his heart aching for Kira. He could see how much she wanted to be accepted. "I understand how you feel," he said softly. "Back on Earth, I've often felt like an outsider too. I'm not the best at sports, and sometimes I feel pressure to fit in with my classmates. But I always knew deep down that I wanted to be true to myself, even if it was hard." As they shared their stories, a deep bond formed between them. They discovered that, despite their differences, they faced similar struggles in their lives. This understanding brought them closer, creating a sense of acceptance and comfort that neither of them had experienced before. They started to talk about their dreams and hopes for the future, finding joy in their shared ambitions. Meanwhile, their bravery was inspiring others at school. More students began to speak up against bullying, emboldened by Jake and Kira's friendship. The cafeteria, once filled with the sounds of laughter at someone else's expense, began to transform into a place of support and kindness. Students who had once turned a blind eye to the bullying now looked out for one another, creating a community where everyone felt safer. The teachers noticed the change, too. They began to hold workshops on empathy and understanding, encouraging students to embrace their differences. Kira and Jake became ambassadors for this new movement, sharing their experiences during assemblies. They spoke passionately about acceptance and the importance of standing up for one another. Their words resonated with many, and slowly the atmosphere in the school shifted toward positivity. Kira felt a renewed sense of belonging. She no longer hid in the shadows, but instead stood proudly by Jake's side. Together they had turned their pain into something beautiful, a friendship that celebrated their uniqueness. They were both determined to ensure that no one else would feel the loneliness they had once felt. As the weeks passed, the school became a beacon of hope, showing that even the smallest acts of kindness could spark a wave of change. Kira and Jake had not only formed a powerful friendship, but had also transformed their entire community. Together, they were building a brighter future, proving that acceptance and understanding could overcome any barrier. After their inspiring victory, Kira and Jake thought they had put an end to the bullying at school. But not everyone was ready to let things go. The bullies, embarrassed and furious after being defeated in front of their classmates, began to plot their revenge. They whispered in dark corners and exchanged angry glances, determined to regain their power and humiliate Jake and Kira once again. As news of their plans reached Jake and Kira, tension hung in the air. The duo knew they had to be ready for a confrontation. "We can't let them intimidate us again," Kira said, her voice firm. Jake nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. They decided to gather their friends and prepare for whatever was coming their way. Using advanced technology available at their futuristic school, Jake and Kira devised a strategy to defend themselves. They set up an AI-driven drone system that would help them monitor the bullies' movements. The drones were small but powerful, equipped with cameras and sensors to detect any trouble. As they programmed the drones, Kira felt a sense of excitement. "This is going to be like a movie!" she exclaimed, grinning at Jake. On the day of the showdown, the air was electric with anticipation. Students gathered in the schoolyard, ready to support Jake and Kira. The bullies, fueled by anger, marched towards them with an intimidating group of their own, determined to prove their strength. The scene was set for an epic battle. As the bullies approached, Jake and Kira activated their drones. The small machines zipped into the air, flying over the heads of the students. They sent back live feeds, allowing Jake and Kira to keep a close eye on the bullies' every move. Tension filled the air as everyone prepared for the confrontation. Suddenly, the bullies launched their attack. They charged forward, throwing insults and ready to fight. But Jake and Kira stood firm. "We're not afraid of you," Jake shouted, his voice ringing with courage. The drones swooped in, capturing footage of the chaos while also serving as a distraction. In the midst of the action, Kira activated her own powers. With a flick of her wrist, she unleashed a blinding light, creating confusion among the bullies. This was the moment they had been waiting for. As the bullies hesitated, Jake rallied their allies to charge forward. "Together!" he shouted, leading the charge. The battle erupted into a thrilling spectacle of close-quarters combat. Students fought back against the bullies with newfound confidence, using makeshift shields and whatever they could find. The atmosphere was electric as cheers erupted from their classmates, creating a wave of support that pushed Jake and Kira forward. Then came the climax of the showdown. Jake, seeing a chance to end the fight, called for an orbital bombardment. The drones unleashed a series of stunning light displays that illuminated the sky, creating a dazzling spectacle that dazzled everyone present. The bullies were momentarily blinded, giving Jake and Kira the upper hand. As the dust settled, the bullies realized they were outmatched and began to retreat. The crowd erupted in cheers as Jake and Kira stood victorious, their bond stronger than ever. This battle not only showcased their courage, but also transformed their school into a safe haven, proving that unity could conquer any challenge. In that moment, Kira and Jake knew they had made a lasting impact, not just for themselves, but for every student who sought acceptance and friendship. Their journey had come full circle, but they were ready for whatever lay ahead together. The climactic battle reached its peak as the bullies faced defeat, their attempts to overpower Jake and Kira thwarted by the unity of their classmates. It was a classic tale of good versus evil, where the forces of friendship and bravery triumphed over cruelty and oppression. As the dust settled, the bullies finally retreated, realizing they were no match for the strength of those who stood together. Jake and Kira stood side by side, their hearts pounding with adrenaline and relief. They had fought hard, and their victory was not just for themselves, but for everyone who had ever felt bullied or alone. The cheers from their classmates echoed around them, a chorus of support and joy that filled the air. "We did it!" Kira exclaimed, her face lighting up with a mix of disbelief and happiness. Jake smiled back at her, proud of what they had accomplished together. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at school began to shift dramatically. Inspired by the bravery of Jake and Kira, the administration decided to take serious action. They introduced a new zero-tolerance policy against bullying, ensuring that every student felt safe and accepted within the school's walls. Teachers held assemblies to talk about kindness and empathy, encouraging everyone to treat each other with respect. Kira's confidence grew as she found her place among her peers. She no longer felt like an outsider, but an important member of the school community. With Jake's support, she began to participate in school activities, from clubs to sports, and even led discussions on the importance of accepting differences. Her blue skin and unique features, which once made her a target, now became a symbol of strength and resilience. The final scene of this journey showed Jake and Kira leading a campaign for kindness and inclusion. They organized events that celebrated diversity, inviting students from all backgrounds to share their cultures and experiences. The school buzzed with excitement as everyone participated, decorating hallways with colorful banners that read, "Together we are stronger," and "Unity in diversity." As they spoke to their classmates, Jake and Kira shared their story, encouraging others to stand up for what is right. They wanted everyone to understand that true strength comes from lifting each other up rather than tearing each other down. The sense of community grew, and more students began to reach out to those who had previously been ignored or bullied. By the time the campaign came to an end, a profound change had taken root in the school. Students who had once remained silent now spoke out against injustice, and friendships blossomed across groups that had previously been divided. The air was filled with laughter and camaraderie, a testament to the power of their efforts. As the sun set on a beautiful day at school, Kira and Jake stood together, watching their classmates interact joyfully. They shared a moment of triumph, knowing they had made a lasting difference. The journey they embarked on had not only transformed their lives, but also the lives of many others. With hope and determination in their hearts, they knew that the fight against bullying was far from over. But together, they were ready to face any challenge that came their way. Their story would inspire others to stand up for kindness and inclusivity, leaving the audience with a powerful message of hope and the belief that friendship can change the world.